She said it again. This video is brought to you by The Officer Tatum Store. The Officer Tatum Store. Get the merch link in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to my channel. Hit that like join button so you can join the Tatum Squad. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. AOC, the smartest, dumbest person on planet Earth. Why do you say that, Mr. Tatum? Because I feel like she is fervent and she is, she has zeal for the ideas that she has, but they're just dumb ideas. That is pretty much what it is. Now, I will say this. I don't disagree with everything she says. I disagree with most of the things she says. However, the spirit in which she's articulating these things are the basis of my disagreement, because I don't think she's doing it with enough information and with good faith. I believe that she believes what she's saying, but I don't believe that in actions and in practice, she's actually thinking through things with an objective viewpoint versus, or in fact, what she's doing is viewing it from a leftist point, and she has to disagree with people on the right. She has to. That she have no other choice. So when you're coming up with solutions, you should look at the solution to the problem from every angle, come up with a viable resource or a viable result that you want to see happen, come up with the mechanisms that you can put in place that can make those things happen objectively. You don't come from it saying, okay, I'm a leftist, so I got to just be left and I got to disagree with everything from the right, because if I give them any leverage, then that makes my argument wrong. That's not the way you should do it. You should do it, but that's the way I believe she's doing it. I'm going to let her explain this viral moment that she's had of pretty much saying, in order to stop crime, in order to stop crime, stop building jails and invest in other areas. And I'll tell you why she's wrong after she speak. I'm gonna give her a little bit more time than what they've given her on the soundbite, but I'll let you listen to what she has to say, and then I'm gonna critique it fairly. Roll the film.
Complete gutting of support in our mental health system, both in the city and across the country, is absolutely correlated with both homelessness and incidents of violent crime. See,
and this is where they mess up. Homelessness and incidents of violent crime. There's a correlation. There's a correlation there. That doesn't necessarily mean there's the causation. It's a correlation between the two. Now, I'm gonna let her finish because I got a lot to say.
When you actually open the door to a jail and look at who's inside, an enormous amount of people are dealing with untreated mental health issues. And it is not acceptable for us to use jails as garbage bins for human beings. We need to treat people and see them as human. And so it is not a place for us to throw people for whom we don't want to invest in the actual holistic issues of their lives.
It's hard to listen to this. It's hard, but I'll finish. It's hard to listen to it because it's incredibly ignorant and incredibly virtue signaling with no real results, no reality. I'll let her finish.
We want to reduce violent crime. If we want to reduce the number of people in our jails, the answer is to stop building more of them. The answer is to make sure that we actually build more hospitals, we pay organizers, we get people mental health care and overall health care, employment, etc. It's to support communities, not throw them away.
Okay, my turn. Okay, now she's not blabbing anymore. Now, to the unsuspected individual, or to the person who may lack reasonable understanding of crime and the effects of crime and the cycle of incarceration, that sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But in real life, that's not realistic, right? So let's just say she implemented this funding of the mental health facilities and all of the above, and they defunded jails and stopped building jails. Now, a victim of rape or a victim of a violent crime don't want to hear you talk about closing down jails and making sure this person who is violently criminalized or done damage to someone's family, that you want to get them mental health exposure and rub them on the back and read them lullabies. These people are committing crimes not only because of mental health, because they're evil individuals. Because they want to hurt you. They want to have what you have. They will rob you, kill you. They're gang banging, they're thugging. That has nothing to do with a mental health facility. And even if you provide mental health facilities, that don't mean they're going to show up. So when they don't show up to the mental health facility, or mental health is not their crisis, but they're perpetuating violent crimes, then where do you put them at? Where do you house those individuals? I think that what people are doing is trying to conflate or trying to represent the criminals and not the victims of these crimes. I want to say, how do we help victims of these crimes? Let's not talk about how to break down prisons and try to get less people incarcerated. Let's try to help people not get victimized by these criminals and try to get them the help that they need. We're not talking about mental health as it relates to somebody being victimized. What happens to their mental health after you've been victimized, traumatized by the crimes that are committed by these people who are deciding to inflict trauma in the community? What about their mental health? What about facilities to help victims? But you don't want to talk about that. All you want to do is talk about mitigating criminals' experience and exposure to the criminal justice system. That's not the way that we need to function and operate. As a former police officer, when I looked at the totality of circumstances, it wasn't mental health when it comes to people who are committing heinous crimes that will result in them going to prison. It was them using drugs. How do they get drugs? From drug dealers. How do the drug dealers get drugs? From cartel. How do they get drugs? Probably because they robbed somebody and killed somebody to get those drugs to then sell and destroy the community. People are drunk and abusing other individuals. How do they abuse other individuals? Because they've been abusing people and been getting out of jail. And now they're abusing the baby mama again and again and again, and now he's killed her. And now he's in prison for a long time. But AOC want to talk about the mental health aspect of that. Let's talk about the fact that he's been abusing women. He should have been incarcerated for a very long time ago. There's many ways to skin this cat. And I don't think that the best approach is to say, let's get rid of these facilities. Let's get rid of law and order. Let's dumb it down. Let's relax on our enforcement, and let's get these people the help that they need. That's not the way. That's not the way you do these things. You need to have prisons. You need to have adequate prisons, and you need to have programs within these prisons to reintroduce people back into society. Because if you defund these prisons and you stop building prisons, and people are still committing crimes, which they will, how do you reintroduce them back into society? You don't, because you don't have the funding, you don't have the support. And then you throw in crazy people back into society with no help, no leverage, no guidance, no nothing, no observation, no parole, no nothing. There's nothing to help them without going out and getting back in and getting in trouble again. And then you have this concept of recidivism. This is the things that I think they're working from a perspective of drawing emotional attention to the problems instead of really being factual. Why are people really homeless? Well, there's multiple reasons, right? When you are living a life, and just say that you grow up with this rhetoric that's been brainwashed to you or into you by these Democrats and these leaders that are in the community telling you as a black person that you will never be anything, that the white man always got their knee on your neck, for lack of a better terms, and you will never make it in life. Then when things get hard, what do? You default into believing that you're not gonna make it in life, and that you have to do nefarious things in order to make it, because you don't have opportunities working a real 9-to-5 and making your way or working your way up to a supervisor level or making real money or even starting your own business. So then you result to a lifestyle of glass half empty, and it takes you down a spiraling path where you end up being incarcerated. So the rhetoric that's being pushed by these Democrats are part of the problem. And I really wish that we would say we can walk and chew gum at the same time. If you don't have a support system of incarcerating and law enforcement to get people off of the streets who deserve to be in prison, then you're not going to do anything by trying to help people on the back end. You're not going to do anything, because are you going to open up a mental health facility and people are just going to run in there and get mental health? No, they're not. They're not going to do that. So how do you get people to a mental health facility and when they don't want to go? Okay, we all know that law enforcement is responsible for that. We have to petition people and force them against their will to go to mental health treatment. The police have to do that. So it sounds good on paper. It sounds good in theory, but this is not reality, ladies and gentlemen. You don't go and err on the side of saying, let's cushion these criminals and let's baby talk them and let's give them all the support they need while in the midst of committing crimes. No, we need to defend the victims here. And then we work on eliminating the suspects, but we need to defend the victims. We need to have more police. We need to have a better prison system, probably even more prisons, or at least more programs in prisons that can help people when they do go and prevent them from victimizing people at a later date. And also more law enforcement that you can get these people off the streets and prevent them from victimizing regular citizens in the first place. That stuff comes through law enforcement. And once they get incarcerated, then you can give them the help that they need. Then you can get them help while they're in the prison system because they have nowhere else to go. They can't just say, oh, I'm not going to participate. Well, you're in prison now. We have control over you. We're going to make you participate. Versus you thinking that they're going to, you know, Jim Jackson down the street doing drive-bys every day is going to somehow check in a mental health facility. Come on, man. Like, let's stop playing ourselves. We need strong law enforcement. We need a robust prison system that can adequately reintroduce people in society when their sentences are over. We need to focus on protecting the victims and making sure people cannot victimize them. And then on the back end, with the criminals and crazies, we can figure out a better way to help them on the back end. Or you could say proactively help them on the front end. The goal is to have an adequate amount of enforcement to end up doing that. I can talk in circles about this for 100 hours, but I want you to watch the rest of my videos. I'll say this in closing. I agree with some of the things that AOC says, but I believe that they're coming from a place that I have to disagree with Republicans in order to get anything done, and that's not the right way to do it. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can have a robust prison system. You can help people on the back end. You can be proactive, but you do need law enforcement, and you do need to hold people accountable. That should have been my whole video. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching the video, subscribing to the channel, comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about what I said. Am I tripping? Am I on or something? See you on the next one. I'm out.